Buddhism versus Sikhism, an in-depth comparison of the differing philosophies and approach to life. In this project, I will be discussing the fundamental beliefs of Buddhism as I juxtapose them with the tenets of Sikhism. I will discuss the origins and teachings and philosophies of both religions in an attempt to reach a better understanding of the two. Buddhism is a religion based on the teachings of Siddhartha Gautama. Gautama was born in Lumbini, Nepal in approximately 563 BCE and spent most of his life teaching in northern India until his death in 483 BCE. Gautama was the son of a wealthy king who provided his son an extravagant life in the palace. Gautama, however, was curious about the world and wanted to explore life outside his father's palace. It is believed that on the night his son was born, Gautama left his father's palace and set out on a journey to explore the world. On this journey, Gautama saw four sights: an old man, a diseased man, a decaying corpse, and an ascetic, all things he had never seen before. These sights led him to believe that the world was full of pain and that withdrawal through meditation was the only way to achieve inner peace. Gautama eventually achieved enlightenment through deep meditation and became known as the Buddha. The Buddha came to the conclusion that suffering, dukkha, arises from belief in self, and so humans must disregard the belief of the self in an attempt to rid themselves of pain. The Buddha also explained that there exist 5 skandhas through which the world is perceived and clinging arises. Furthermore, he stated that all 5 skandhas are impermanent because we are always changing. He compared the idea of a consistently changing self to the concept of a fire, which is never constant at any given time. According to Buddhism, the idea of reincarnation exists within 6 realms of consciousness, which include the hells, hungry ghosts, animals, humans, demigods, and gods. Humans are considered to have the highest level of consciousness among these realms. Buddhism does not view the Atman in the same way Hinduism and Sikhism do. Unlike Hindus and Sikhs, Buddhists do not agree that the Atman is a distinct entity which returns to Brahma once it escapes the wheel of life. People do, however, possess something eternal that allows them to be born again. The Buddha's denial of self led many followers to question then what exactly it is that reincarnates. According to the teaching of the Buddha, there is no distinct, persisting entity which moves from one body to the next. The Buddha stated that it is a person's deeds, specifically in the sense of his volitional acts, which cause the phenomenon of the person's next existence. The Buddha sought to achieve nirvana. However, he refused to explain the nature of nirvana, so it is a concept hard to define directly. It can, instead, only be experienced or realized. Unlike their teacher, the Buddha's followers attempted to address the issue of defining nirvana. In the Questions of King Milinda, the teacher Nagasena explains nirvana to the king as follows.
As the lotus flower is unstained by water, so is nirvana unstained. As water slacks the heat of fever, so does nirvana slack the heat of passions and removes the craving of earthly enjoyments. As medicine protects the body from poisons, so does nirvana protect from passion's poison. As medicine cures sickness, so does nirvana put an end to suffering.
Some scholars believe that nirvana is not a real place at all. Instead, they believe it is only a state of mind that one reaches through meditation. Those who believe that nirvana is an actual place admit that it appears to be a place where one does nothing but meditate. Either way, nirvana directly translates to extinction, and may be thought of as a state in which one has eliminated pain through the belief of no self. Achieving enlightenment, the Buddha preached his ideas of how to eliminate desire and craving for worldly things through the establishment of the 4 noble truths. These truths are a fundamental part of Buddhist thought and include the ideas that all lives are filled with suffering, dukkha. This suffering is caused by a craving for worldly things, samudaya. Suffering will stop when one learns to suppress desire, nirodha, and desire can be suppressed by following a specific way of life, known as the Eightfold Path, Magga. Many schools of Buddhism emerged as the teachings of the Buddha were compiled after his death. However, the majority of early schools died out, and it was the Theravada school that survived until today. The Theravada school of Buddhism follows the teachings from the 3 Baskets, These doctrines were compiled at the First Council, which was held in 484 BCE, following the Buddha's death, and are made up of the Sutrapitaka, the basket of discourse, Vinayapitaka, the basket of disciplines, and the Pitaka, the basket of higher doctrine. In Buddhism, the term guru does not refer to the highest aspirant of spirituality. Instead, a guru is heavy with knowledge and acts as a guide for an individual seeking enlightenment. The term guru in Sikhism retains its original meaning of guide, which symbolizes the highest aspirant of spirituality in the religion. The eating of meat has been an issue of discussion in many East Asian religions. According to the teaching of the Buddha, one is not supposed to eat meat if it has been killed and prepared specifically for him, but can eat it otherwise. Followers of the Theravada school of Buddhism, however, strictly adhere to the doctrine of harmlessness, and so refrain from eating meat altogether. Buddhism in India slowly began to decline, beginning around the 7th century, when Chinese pilgrim Xuan Zang visited northern India around this time. He found only 20 monasteries, with a total of 3,000 residents in Andhra. The peaceful, non-violent way of life practiced by Indian Buddhists of the time made them vulnerable to oppressors. Muslim Turks further contributed to the decline as they began attacking western and northwestern India in the 8th century, destroying many Buddhist monasteries and forcing many Buddhists to flee eastward. A lack of grassroots devotionalism during this time by Buddhist monks was also a significant factor, leading to the decline of Buddhism in India as it followed for the assimilation of the Buddhist thinking into Hinduism. Sikhism is a monotheistic religion based on the teachings of the 10 gurus who lived in 15th to the 17th centuries in northern India. The religion was founded by Guru Nanak Dev, who lived from April 15, 1469 to September 22, 1539. Nanak opposed the caste system of Hinduism and preached the concept that social class should not determine one's spiritual standing. Nanak was fascinated by religion and philosophy from a young age and eventually left home to make 4 significant journeys, known as the Udasis, in which he traveled several thousands of kilometers to lands as far as Mecca. The holy text of Sikhism is called the Guru Granth Sahib. Through the 5th Guru, Guru Arjan Dev, began compiling it. It was completed by the 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh. The Guru Granth Sahib discusses how a person should live his or her life. It emphasizes that one must denounce 5 concepts, which include lust, anger, greed, attachment to loved ones, and the ego, in order to achieve mukti, an end to the cycle of rebirth. Contrary to Buddhist thought, Sikhism believes that there exists a God. In fact, the opening lines of the Guru Granth Sahib read Ek Onkar, which translates to there is one universal creator God. Also, unlike Buddhists, Sikhs believe that the Atman is an individual entity, similar to the Western idea of soul, and it is that the Atman itself that reincarnates and moves from body to body. Similar to in Buddhism, Sikhism places a great importance on meditation as discussed in the Sukhmani Sahib section of the Guru Granth Sahib. Mukti, just as nirvana in Buddhism, can only be achieved through intense meditation. Also, just as in Buddhism, attachment to worldly things is viewed as the root of pain and suffering and must also be disregarded to achieve mukti. Unlike Buddhism, where one is permitted to eat meat as long as they do not kill the animal, or the meat is